Hello, everyone. It's sure, good pleasure. And I always love coming and talking to this group because you guys are so beautiful. You're so loving. There's so many great souls out there working on themselves and helping others. It's just, my God, you see what we're all doing? You all see what you're doing with the planet and how you're helping it? I mean, you got to be proud of yourselves. You know, some of you I know are struggling, and you just have to keep working it. Don't let anything stop you, because you stop, you'll be right where you are. And you don't want to. You just keep on going, no matter what self-discipline it requires. Who cares? You know, that's part of the art of developing yourself spiritually is self-discipline. How do you stop the mind from thinking? How do you control the mind if you don't have any self-discipline? If you can't pull back into your awareness, and a lot of people can't. Interesting enough, people can't.
You know, I've not shared this with a lot of people, but I was diagnosed with a something that was going to put me in a wheelchair by the time I was 20. And that was when I was about, 11, 12 years old.
Wow.
And I remember asking God for healing once, and just this tremendous heat went through my body. But I was asking for the diabetic part.
Oh.
And the next day, my sugars were still sky high, and I was absolutely devastated. Well, fast forward to when I was 16, and I had begun my spiritual journey. And I just asked God, why did you heal me from one and not the other? And I got one word: discipline. But look at what it has taken for me to be in this chair.
Exactly.
If I would have been healed at that moment, my journey would look entirely different. And who knows where I would be and what I'd be doing. It wouldn't be sitting here helping others and learning.
The importance of what you just said lies in judgments. Remember how I've been trying to get people, our team even, because sometimes we make judgment calls. You're too weight, you're too fat, you're too this, you're too that. And it's like, we all know who we are and where we are and what we have to do, you know, most of us. And so it's just judging others.
Yeah.
You know, you can't judge that. You can't judge how God has created all this, because something takes the negative side to bring you to the positive side. That's why there's duality. You know, only the mind claims that one side's bad and one side's good. Each side is just totally different. It's like chemistry. One side's acid, one side's base. You could dub the acid side bad in the sense that it's the main responsible side for breaking things down, but you can't really do that, because that side is essential for the other side to exist. For us to have a body, have food, have everything, you have to have duality. So you have to have both of these sides. There's no judgment to it.
Well, we got to quit looking with the eyes, and we got to look with the heart. Two women I know. One I used to work with. She was probably about 5'7", 5'8", thin as a rail.
Wow.
I mean, looking anorexic. And she would have to eat, she said, close to 4,000 calories a day just to maintain her weight. Another woman, 5'3", 5'4", probably weighed about 230, 240 pounds. Thyroid and adrenal issues major. She would barely eat during the day, and yet she could not lose weight.
Isn't that funny?
But for us to look at it, if we saw one eating a donut, the skinny one, we'd just be like, oh, whatever. But if we saw the heavy one eating the donut, judgment there.
Right, immediately.
And yet the one would bring milkshakes and donuts and things like that to work to maintain that 4,000 calories. Diet awful. And the other one was eating leaves, just trying to lose the weight.
Hey, Drew.
Hi, Drew.
Are we live, baby?
Oh, we're live.
Hi, everyone.
Someone in the chat on Periscope. Thank you so much for watching, too. We love you. Yes. Someone just said they're actually watching a Dr. Morse YouTube video right now. So now they have a Periscope video on top of the YouTube video.
Oh, my God.
I'm not sure which Q&A it was, but they're currently watching this and the YouTube video.
Well, we love you guys. I'm finishing up on the healing crisis that we put up yesterday, and then we're going to talk about pregnancy. So,
have fun.
Thank you.
Talk about a combination of topics. Thanks, Drew.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Healing crisis video.
Healing crisis video.
All right.
Yeah, good.
Bye.
Bye. Love you guys.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
So that judgment, I mean, you cannot judge a book by its cover.
Yeah,
you
for
cannot.
sure. No, you can't. I wanted to finish up just on the healing crisis that we put out yesterday because, after you do something, you're always thinking, God, I should have added this or added that, and I always do that. And of course, that helps to develop you because I'm always developing my ability to talk and articulate what I can see and know, out physically, because we've talked about that. It's one thing to know things. It's another to be able to articulate what your mind knows because your mind is so big and this is so small. And so sometimes it's hard to articulate. You start talking about what you think you see in your mind, but it comes out totally different sometimes, It just takes a while to work on that.
It's not that you don't prepare, but the minute I put notes on this paper, I am limited to what this paper says.
See, that's the problem.
But the minute I come and talk from the heart and speak...
That's the only way I like to do it. I do have an outline for class to try to keep it in some kind of semblance.
We're going to try and stick to an outline.
Oh, yeah, you keep that. Excuse me, but... Well, we're talking about what a healing crisis really is and how you can identify those in the iris. And that's another thing we're going to do in a couple of weeks is teach them how to see a healing crisis coming, how to prepare the client for that, and basically put yourself in a positive position of knowing what the person is probably going to experience. And so we'll be talking a lot about that. But what do you do during a healing crisis? And we talked a little bit yesterday about the cooked foods, the fact that it has no energy in them anymore, so it lowers your energy. And of course, when you lower your energy, that's dis-ease, so you start getting weaker and weaker. The healthy is the energetic. The weak is the lack of energy. And of course, energy is consciousness and awareness, and so it just fits in all those ways. The more tired you get, the more cloudy you get. You notice that? Because this is the nervous systems. And so your nervous systems is your liaison, if you want, to consciousness in a way. So some of these things, I've talked about the ER. Some people I've sent to the ER just in case they need stabilized. Because some of you guys are so advanced in when you woke up to realize that you have a problem and no one could help you. You had to find the answers yourself. The medical community did not have them. Sometimes it's scary when you wake up to that, or when you wake up to the fact that you've been to 10 doctors and no one's got an answer for you and you don't know what to do.
Well, not only that, but the medical industry and us as humans are used to pointing to the fruits as the cause because it stirs things up. It gets things moving. I mean, if you're dealing with stuff like that, it's got to come out. And that's what the medical community is used to doing. They point to, well, you ate a lot of fruits and look at yeast and candida, and it's got to be its problem. It's got to be the fault of the fruit, and it's not. Yeah, we talked about that before in a video where fruit really exposes what's underneath because it's astringent. It starts clearing out where vegetables don't have that clearing ability as much. I mean, if you had super, super, super concentrated chlorophyll, it acts like an astringent. But you get so many other good astringents. Why even mess with doing that, I've even, times, I'll get a call at night and they're in trouble. Someone's in trouble with breathing or something. So we look to their medicine cabinet or to their pantry, for cinnamon, cayenne pepper, any oil. Because oils, remember, are anti-inflammatory. So when you have a pain, you could rub even olive oil in your kitchen counter or something. Rub that on a spot. You could add just a pinch of cayenne pepper for warmth and to improve circulation, but only a little dab will do you. Some people go way overboard. It's like some of you guys that are playing with the black salves. Understand that you don't go overboard with the black salve. You only need, if you have a tumor this big, you only need a black salve that's about as round as the end of my finger. It'll open and
fold. You don't have to go massive with the black salve because it'll irritate all that area wherever you're putting it. But remember, when you're doing the black salves too, is that you've got to always go back and fix the problem like you would anyway, or you're going to get another tumor. See, the whole issue about what we do is correct why you have the tumors, why you have these things, and of course get rid of them because we fixed that. So you just got to remember that if you pull a tumor, you still have to fix your kidney filtration and your adrenals and your lymph.
Well, how many times do you get a report back where your cancer's in remission? That's actually a scary thing because it puts you in a state of feeling secure.
Absolutely.
But you just added all of the damage that the chemo created, plus the dead cells that it created that were cancerous cells. Now your lymphatic system has to work all the harder. You didn't fix that, you added to that.
Oh, yeah.
So 5 years down the road, 1 year down the road, 6 months down the road,
Explodes.
I'm sorry, your
another
cancer's
tumor,
back and it's
yeah.
spread.
Yeah, and that's where it's back. Well, it never left, and they didn't tell you it left. They told you were in remission, which means it didn't leave. And there's nothing to leave. It's not a conscious entity that says, well, it's time for me to go. This chemistry. These are acids. You're not like you can talk to them, and well, you could, but you'd have to be at another level. But still, you're not going to talk to them and say, would you please leave? That's not how this works. But a lot of medical doctors think things like that, and I don't think they have sit back and taken a look seriously at some of what they say, because some of it's just idiotic. Some of it's just like, what?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But don't ever let a healing crisis stop you in any way, shape, or form, or set you back. And you will not be set back if you have to add some cooked vegetables to slow it down. My take rarely is to slow it down. If you're ratted out, you detoxed, and your healing crisis is lasting too long, because most healing crises are a few hours to a few days. There are some that last a lot longer. How you make them last a lot longer is your diet. Your diet controls how you deal with a healing crisis. If you want to slow it down, you add cooked foods. If you want to hold it there, eat vegetables and fruits. If you want to push it through and get rid of it, go to fruits, berries, and melons. Kick that detox up.
I have actually had someone draw back slightly from a healing crisis doing the more vegetable fruits that we've. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
The vegetable fruit.
That term that we
category.
Category, exactly.
We got some new charts for you with that on there.
Yep.
Yeah,
But coconuts and bananas and avocados, and it slowed things down. Still
Banana
healthy.
will slow things down a little bit. It depends on the level you're at. Absolutely. And so you can kind of learn how, and that's what I was talking about, the art of detoxification, the art of healing someone. Holy moly, that's a big truck. That's a big truck.
Yes, it is.
Uh-oh. We've got some stuff coming, don't we? I don't know. We got a big truck pulled up out there. But I think pretty much, I think I've covered the healing crisis pretty good. If not, send me a message if I needed to cover some area that we didn't.
Yeah.
But we wanted to cover a special thing. Marcie wanted to cover this today, so we want to talk about you ladies for a minute.
Yes. Before we switch to that, though, the first thing to remember in any situation, especially if you're detoxing, is do not panic. Because so many people, they panic, and that tends, you forget what to do, you forget what you should do, you usually end up doing something wrong. Call us, email us, make sure you make that note that it is an emergency, rather than otherwise they're going to go in a queue and it's going to take longer. But do not panic, think it through. Most of the time, I tell people, if you're not going into anaphylactic shock, if you don't think you're having a stroke or a heart attack or bleeding profusely, it's a healing crisis.
Yep.
And just
Now,
ride the wave.
This is another thing you can remember. If you think you're having an MI, a heart attack, very, very important, okay? If you see someone in a heart attack or starting to sweat profusely and starting to go out, you grab, if they have it, a left hand, because I did that in the hospital once, and this guy was an amputee from diabetes. He didn't have the left foot. I had to go to his left hand. The left foot, to me, works faster, but you want to go right here in your left hand, or just on this pad right in here. On the left foot, same thing. You've got your toe and your pads right down here. Get a foot chart, and you start rubbing that. I pulled 3 people out of cardiac arrest with that technique, and I mean flatline. One not flatline, but.
And if you're not sure what you're doing and you're nervous about that,
rub the
just grab their thumb and put your hand right back here.
There you go.
Because what you're doing is you're creating a circuit.
There you go.
And it'll at least keep things going until help that
That's a
may
good
know
idea
what
right
they're
there.
doing.
That's a good idea right there. See, so there's a lot of first aid things that you can do, with that. Some people thought, of course, to get the cayenne pepper down them. You have to be real careful with things like that because of choking and everything else. They don't do the mouth resuscitation anymore, so most people know how to give chest compression, that sort of thing. But
Cute. Unless they're cute. Never mind. We're moving on.
Moving on.
We like to have fun here. One of the reasons that I wanted to talk about this next topic is because, I mean, it has brought anything from joy and excitement and wonder to anxiety and fear and trepidation and even grief. And that's pregnancy. From getting pregnant to conceiving to having that child. And so we just kind of wanted to talk you through that. We're going to start with fertility. We're going to start with those who are struggling to get pregnant. We're going to move to safety and herbs and things like that during pregnancy, post-pregnancy, and even in nursing. So we're just going to kind of dig right in.
Go ahead. I'll just be your cheerleader.
No, you're going to join me. But have had a lot of people coming to us that are struggling with getting pregnant. When your body gets out of whack, when it gets out of balance, it throws the whole chemistry of things off keel. Especially, acidosis affects it's not prone to liking this area more than that area.
Right.
And so it can really throw the body off, which can throw off being able to conceive, especially the hormonal balance of things and things like that. And so
ask them what tissues that acids do accumulate in faster than others. What do you think? See, now we're psychically in tune to our group because they're all great souls. Mm-hmm. But I heard someone over here say the answer.
What did they say?
What do you think? What was the question?
What is acids more prone to be drawn to?
What do you think? It's your genetic weakness. All your genetically weakened areas. And Jensen talked a lot about that, and we point that out on the eyes all the time, is all your genetically weak lacunas, crypts, and stuff. You'll see that little lymphatic ridge.
Shadows, absolutely.
Yep, shadows. And that's where you see those acids accumulate most. It could be the uteri, it could be ovaries, it could be anywhere.
Doesn't matter the tissue, it matters the weakness, the strength of where it's at. If I have a hole in this end of my roof but not this end, and I don't fix it, and the elements, the rains, the storms, they come, the end with the hole is going to break down quicker than the end without. That is why you can have 32 people lined up here with something, a weakness in different areas. I can have 3 people walk in with pancreatic issues. One is pancreatic cancer, one is pancreatitis, and one is type 1 diabetes. They didn't all walk in with the same issue. It depends on the weaknesses. It depends on how the systems in their body are working together or not working together.
What tissues are involved? I mean, like the beta cells can be involved, the islets in the pancreas, or the pancreatic duct can be involved. Again, how we weaken ourselves through this long journey of genes and chromosomes and things, my God, and all the mutations of that. But the cool thing is, it can all turn around.
Yeah.
It can all turn around and go back to the strong, healthy side again. I mean, nothing's down forever. It's just like it swings over here and you can swing it right back. Thank God. I mean, if you swing your boat too far to the acid side, some of you can't get your bodies back to stay in them. That's a fact. And that's just the way it's going to be. Don't take your body that far.
And this lack of being able to get pregnant, I mean, you chase that. You can name numerous different reasons for why, but you've got to chase that back to the original, and that is the acidosis. I mean, whether it's affecting the pituitary or whether it's causing inflammation in the fallopian tubes, whether it's causing inflammation in the uterus, regardless of why you're not able to get pregnant, you've got to get those areas healthy, and you've got to clean those out. I have a number of ladies that I have really strongly recommended taking 6 months to a year after looking at their eyes. I mean, they came to us because they couldn't get pregnant, but after looking at their eyes, strongly suggesting that they take 6 months to a year. Standing on this side of getting pregnant, 6 months to a year can seem like forever. But standing on the other side and having a healthy baby, or the fact that you did not have a healthy baby or even lost that child because of issues going on inside here, can make a 6 months to a year seem like that.
Yeah.
Take that time and clean.
Well, there can't be a better point made, I have to tell you, because we see them on the other side where the babies are now mutated, and it's a mess.
Yeah.
And it's just and the virals are out all over the place, and who knows if they're being released by there's a lot of governments right now into this sort of thing. So it still goes back to your terrain.
Mm-hmm.
It still goes back, and I thought you were right on here. You can. It's easy to get a woman pregnant, and I'm not just saying from that sort, but it's easy to fix the pituitary, get the ovaries. It's easy to get a woman to conceive. What's not so easy is to get them to hold that and also to make that healthy, because you're going to have the same weakness in the offspring.
Yeah.
So it's one thing just to hit the pituitary and really get the lady to conceive. That's about as easy as it gets. You don't need infertility places and all this kind of crap. That's ridiculous. That is so stupid. It's not even fun. These guys should know how to get a woman to conceive with that pituitary. But what you're saying is so vital to understand is that you want to fix why your pituitary is down, why you can't. It's easy to understand what glands are involved in conception and what hormones and stuff. That's easy. But the fact of why you don't, just what you said, real vital to fix that.
And the thing about it is, most people when they're pregnant, they tend to pull away from the eating healthy raw fruits and stuff, because I want to make sure my baby's got all the vitamins and all of that. This is the thing.
Oh my God.
Everything you put in your mouth is building that child. Why would you want to put something in there that is going to build a weaker child? This is the time to firm up. This is the time to get serious. This is the time to put the things of nature that, I did not do this well when I was pregnant. I didn't know to do this well when I was pregnant. I may have been into herbs for most of my life. I may have been eating better because of a diabetic, having to eat better, but you can still eat awful that way.
I know.
And I didn't know to do this for my children. Just like, and I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself here, but just like that child is tied to that mother's immune system for 9 months, that mother's weaknesses can become that child's. You provide things for that child during that pregnancy, but that child can also, even tiny, provide for you. All 3 of my pregnancies, my children gave me insulin. My very first one, my sugars were amazing. He was born. He went from providing me insulin to just having to provide 7 pounds insulin. And it took them a week in the neonatal unit to get his sugar stabilized, because he kept wanting to drop because he kept overproducing insulin. Now, fast forward 20 some years, and his adrenals are very, very weak, and he has a weight issue, and he has the potential of type 2 diabetes.
Yep. It's just, I guess there's the bottom line to it. There isn't anything better than to feel good and be healthy. Whether it's a lifetime of raising children that's mutated and have serious problems, or losing children at St. Joe's or someplace like that who think that we must poison and kill our kids to try to save them.
Yeah.
And they have no clue to true genetics and what's going on here. We can no longer trust our kids to the medical profession. If you guys haven't got that yet, you need to, because there's a serious mutation of kids. We've had the parents at our classes. We're all crying to hear the stories. It's not even funny. The AMA does not understand infants and how to raise them, how to feed them, how to take care of them, what happens when they have digestive problems, what happens when they're born with neural toxicities or suppressed nervous systems. How do you deal with those things? They don't know. They don't have a clue.
Right.
And so then they end up making everything so much worse. But,
for those of you that are listening that are wanting to get pregnant, getting yourself healthy first is such a key. I'm just going to share this real brief. I didn't understand this route, and my second pregnancy, I knew it was a rough pregnancy. I felt it from the beginning. My husband and I both kind of did. We got to 34 weeks and went in for an ultrasound, and they said everything was fine. Monday, he was gone. We were supposed to do a C-section on Wednesday. Monday, he was gone.
wow.
Enlarged liver. Probably had to do something with my sugars.
Yeah.
Most likely. But that's a devastating situation to be told that your child is gone. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to think. You don't know what to feel. The emotions. I mean, it's been 20 some years since that happened. And my husband and I still deal to some extent to this day with some of the fallout from that loss. But that is why it's important. If I would have known what I know now, to take the time to strengthen myself up before that even happened, so that whatever that issue was wouldn't have taken place. The things, the grief that you can save not only yourself, but your children. That it's absolutely key. Detoxing while pregnant is not the time to detox. That is just, while you're pregnant, is not the time to try and remove the junk that's supposed to be in there, because the body can get confused and can remove the child. Detoxing beforehand, that's when you need to do it. Getting healthy before, so that not only are you healthy and strong, but you are building and creating a healthy and strong child.
Also remember, what's genetic is the cells, right? But the body has two other things in there, right, that take care of the cells, and the blood and the lymph. So you have to understand that fluids aren't genetic. So how does your child get such bad lymph systems? Mama, you as mothers, your babies are hooked to your blood and lymph systems. And so you're circulating their cellular sewage through you and out. What if you're not filtering? Well, neither is the baby. Yeah. So this is why we see babies' lymph systems. That's why you're seeing babies now with tumors in them, why St. Joseph's full, why you see what's going on here with the kids in all levels. It's just sickening. And we got to turn it around. And then the virus thing, and it's just got ongoing lack of understanding of terrain. And you got people all around the world that have diets that are making their bodies toxic as hell. Everywhere. If you're not eating fruits and vegetables, you're eating foods that clog your body. You're eating foods that are not designed for your body. And I have to tell you, even vegetables are not designed for your body. Go to the fruit veggies. But vegetables, you just sit on a piece of kale. How'd you like to choose on a piece of kale or a ripe pineapple from Hawaii or mango from the tropics? I mean, is there a comparison? And how does your body digest and deal with each one of these? And what's the exchange back to you energetically from them?
I want to take us back, because I want him to catch what you said.
Okay.
The cells can be genetic, but about the blood and the lymph.
Yeah.
That changes on a daily basis, and it changes according to what you're eating, what you're breathing, what you're taking in, what you're drinking. That's not the genetic part. I have clients all the time saying, well, my dad had this blood disorder, my mom had this blood disorder, I've got this disorder. You don't have the blood disorder. You've got to trace it back to the root of the issue.
You got the cellular weaknesses. That's where the true weaknesses are, that's set up for all that they look at. So all the factors in the blood is from the cells. So you just have to look at that and realize that we have some serious health problems, and that babies, their sewer systems and all come right out of mama. And so look at your lymph system, and that will be your baby's lymph system.
As far as fertility goes, clean up the diet, get as raw as what you can. Our female reproductive formula has to come with a warning. So, I mean, if you've cleaned yourself up...
I've told them.
Yeah.
But still got to tell them again.
Yep. Working on going after the pituitary and strengthening up that pituitary is going to be good. And there's some wonderful herbs that can help with that. And Shannon and I are working on loading some things to our website, different herbs for different things and that kind of thing for fertility while you're pregnant and post and all that. So within a couple weeks, hopefully that'll be up and we'll get that to you.
That'll be good.
But just going to during pregnancy. Let's talk about during pregnancy. One more thing on the fertility thing. Get rid of the acidosis. We've already talked about the cleaning up, but the acidosis is your biggest issue with not getting pregnant, regardless of whether that's the pituitary or whether that's the uterus or where it might be. That's what you got to do.
9 times out of 10, when you can't conceive as a female, it's your pituitary gland. And if you go to your eye and get an eye picture, remember how I showed you how to tell the pituitary right above that bowel wall, that transverse colon which goes across the top? you'll always see that, which always links the transverse bowel with the pituitary problem. It's almost like this transverse colon has a feed. And remember the radius solaris that come up here. They're like toxic tunnels. And so that's what you have to nip in the bud. That's why when you go after detox, you're going after bowels, you're going after kidneys, you're going after your eliminative organs, because you're not eliminating anymore. So you have to go after the eliminative organs.
I just got a word picture. Sorry.
Oh, you go. I can't really hear this one.
Have you ever been walking in the city and you see the things in the middle of the road? What are those? Manhole covers.
Oh, manhole covers.
Manhole covers. And you see that steam rising up from them sometimes. I just thought about that. Those radii solaris, those little grooves, that's just gaseous, toxic vapors from the GI tract rising up those crevices into the brain.
You know, people probably don't realize the body produces a lot of gas.
I think people realize that.
But you can see them leaving your skin. So it's funny, you know, it's just chemistry being utilized is all it is. If you use the female reproductive formula, it has herbs in there for the pituitary, of course. But as Marcie said, you can conceive real easy here, and you want to be careful because it isn't just about conception. You want to get out of that. If you're just semi-focused on conceiving, then you got to take some time and meditate and get your act together. Yeah. Because you're too emotionally involved in this, and that's not why you have children. Yeah. So you want to pull back from that and take a look at what you really want and how you want your life to be, along and bringing another soul to this planet, what you want their journey to be like. You know,
there's a huge responsibility in that.
Huge. You know, because you're supplying a body for a big soul like you guys to come in and experience the planet. And so the experience is going to be totally related to the health of the physical body, because that's your vehicle while you're on Earth.
Yep.
And you'll either be in a chair, you'll be whatever. I mean, it's just, and right now is where people really have to take a look at this and fix this. And I will say, thinking about during pregnancy, think about what foods you use for what. So one of the most important things that you want in your baby is to have a nervous system top notch. That includes the central nervous system, the hard drive, the brain, of course, obviously, and the autonomic. Without that, you guys see ADD, ADHD, MS, Lou Gehrig's, you go right on down that long list, and none of it's fun. So that's why the fruits and the berries and the melons as infants, not the vegetables. We're not horses or cows. Your baby is not going to be a horse in 1 year. Yeah. You know, baby horse and baby cow is pretty heavy in 1 year. Our kids don't grow like that. So we don't want that. What we wanted mature is the electrical system, because that's how everything turns on or off. So it's real important.
And remember, this isn't a time to detox. So things like the avocados and the coconuts, coconut has, it's amazing for pregnant women. It's amazing for babies. I'm going to tell a story about that when we get there. But, you know, during pregnancy, we've had a lot of people call in. What herbs are safe? What aren't safe? There's a lot of testing going on out there on these herbs. And you've got to understand that one example that Shannon pointed out here was on here, it says that aloe right here is not good through pregnancy. But you got to understand that the one is for, I think she said for diuretic or whatnot, and that's only if you add in the leaf part of it. And so they take testing, and they only they test way too much of one thing, or they only test one part of the plant, or they throw everything in the mix. And you've got to look at who's doing the testing, number one. And number two, you know what? These plants and berries have been on this earth longer than we have. And we animals have been eating this stuff for years in small quantities. And you don't see them eating a plant and dying unless, you know, I'm not saying there's not some plants that hasn't happened
well,
with.
You know, time tested. I wonder how many people got killed testing plants. Yeah. That's in the past, though.
Yeah.
I'll say this, and I've talked to them about these subjects before, but the one big one that we hold back on, of course, is the lymphatic herbs. Most of these other herbs are so gentle and nice and sweet, I can't even think of one that's bad for you.
Yeah.
But
And
So
in combinations that the percentages...
Exactly. And combinations are even better because they have friends working together. You know, we all work better as friends than in one. Remember that? Remember 11-11? You know, we're alone, but we work together as one. So it's always better that way.
So, young lady calls. She is 12 weeks pregnant. She just got her thyroid tested, and it's triple what it should be. The doctor told her he wanted her to go on Synthroid. She wanted to know, naturally, the opinions. And, of course, mine was that, you know, Synthroid is taking that thyroid down. It is taking the thyroid down. Go all raw. Do some herbal support. Not detoxing, but herbal support. Get as raw as you can to help with the acidosis. So she got excited, ordered the herbs, started going all raw. Within 2 weeks, she hadn't even got the herbs yet. She had lost 10 pounds, had energy out the wazoo, was feeling incredible, and then made the mistake of telling, I don't want to say made the mistake, that's the wrong way. She shared with her doctor the herbal that she was doing and that she didn't want to do the Synthroid. So the doctor had her bring in all the herbs to see what was in them. Number one, he's never studied herbs. Number one, I doubt he could tell you what dandelion root is or does. I'm making an assumption there, but this is a topic of mine that has me highly ramped up.
Energized.
Told her that she could not do the herbs. His words were, I can't tell you exactly why, but you can't do the herbs. Your thyroid may be, it's not about stimulating the thyroid. Your thyroid may be damaged, and that can affect the baby, and so you need to be on the Synthroid. Does he not realize that that Synthroid that she is taking is also, while she's taking it, the baby's taking it? And so it's taking down the baby's thyroid also?
Oh.
They decided, because they didn't want to upset the doctor, to do both. Because they didn't want to upset the doctor.
But my tongue. You know, because you could conceivably, if she had a hypo condition, taking the Synthroid could conceivably bring her thyroid up, but get the hyperthyroid to the kid. Could do that. It depends on the genetics of the thyroid in the kid. Thyroid doesn't have to have low thyroid because he's in the mother. Mm-hmm. And so that could make the kid have hyperthyroidism. The whole thing is idiotic. And use a glandular if you wanted to. If it's hyper, he said that the numbers were way too high, which would depict hyperthyroidism. So I don't know. That's you're talking about the TSH.
The TSH was triple.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Because we go then immediately to the thyroid to assume that that's part of that, but the pituitary controls so many other systems that you don't know why it's hyperactive.
And she does show pituitary weakness.
She could have an irritation in the transverse colon, making the pituitary hyperactive. She could have a spastic condition in the bowel, making the pituitary hyperactive. Could have a bunch of mucus in the pituitary. Acidosis can make you hyperactive initially. It's like a coffee enema.
Yeah.
All those things. The sad thing is that the healthcare level of thinking like this medical doctor is at the level that it is. You know, in today's world. But these guys are struggling.
Yeah.
And they're going to claw. They've been clawing at me for years, calling me everything under the sun. I don't care about that part of it, but when you start hurting people because of your ignorance, there is a red line somewhere.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to draw that, you know.
Well, if you were looking at buying a Cadillac, and I come up to you and I say, you don't want this car. Why? Well, number one, the color's ugly. Number two, the wheels, they don't look pretty. Well, what about the motor? I don't know. Have you ever driven one, Marcie? No, I've never driven one. Do you know how it actually works? Do you know anything about this car? No, not really. I just know I don't. I've read some stuff that I don't like about it.
Oh.
Are you really going to take my advice? I've never driven a Cadillac. I don't know what's under the hood. Well, I do, but normally I wouldn't. Most people wouldn't. But the way it functions and everything, you talk to a doctor about herbs, that's not what they know. That's not even what they study. Their degree, and I'm sorry to say this because I believe that there are really a lot of people that get into healthcare to help, but a doctor's degree is based on the drugs that they've learned. Yes, they learn some systems and where they hook up and all this and that, but they don't learn how they work together. And they do not learn how to naturally deal with that and stimulate those systems. They learn about symptoms and the drugs that control those symptoms for a while.
Yeah. Well, I like the lymphatic level that they're taught. And I've often thought that the lymphologist out there should have some interaction with the medical profession, because if you don't understand the lymph system even halfway, you're lost.
Yeah.
You name diseases, autoimmune, you have all this bull crap opinions and ideas about things, you have no idea what it is, so you have to label it something to make yourself look halfway decent. Since you're an intellectual, you're supposed to know these things. Well, that's all bull crap. No, everybody's not supposed to know everything. Medical doctors, you got to realize you don't know everything and you're not supposed to. You know what you trained yourself in.
Yeah.
Well, retrain yourself. I mean, we're all responsible for training ourselves. Nobody else is.
Absolutely. And even here, when you call in here, we like to provide you with information and tools and things like that, but you still need to take responsibility for learning on your own and digging in and figuring out and why.
It's like that letter I read to him the other day with the lady that had the tumor and the cancer, and she couldn't get an appointment with us quick enough, so she just did the 14-week protocol and hit the grapes and hit the lemon, no more tumor left. She's going, whoa, that's what I'm talking about. That's how easy this is. All of you can do this. It's easy. We're here to support and to help, but you got to walk your own walk. But it's an easy walk, and it's a feel-good walk, except for the healing crisis. It's a feel-good walk.
It is a feel-good walk. I will say it is easy. There are cases that aren't. There are. There is a verse that said that, what is it? And you all know that I do these wrong, these quotes, but a day to the Lord is like 7 days or something like that. Well, Robert's a lot like that. A day to Robert is like 7 days to us. So when he says, oh, we dealt with that in 3 months. Oh, we dealt with that in 2 weeks. Remember, not all of us do.
That's true. That's true. Well, that's true. I guess that, I like to brag on our sensational cases.
We do have those
because
cases.
we have some damn good cases.
Absolutely.
That people have really done some amazing things with their health. It's just shocking to see what you can do to a very mutated body. It gives you that God feeling again that, God is here, that sort of thing, because a lot of people are so depressed because everything is so negative nowadays that you kind of lose that feeling that the energeticness of creation, the energeticness of life, just having life and experiencing, form. We've lost that even, and now we're just, suffering quite a bit. Change all of that.
Yeah.
Turn all of that around. You don't have to allow the negative forces to bother you at all. You turn it all around. You don't have to live within duality. Your bodies do, but you don't.
Yeah.
Your bodies always has to, and you have to play that role with your bodies.
And during pregnancy, like I said, this isn't the time. You could do a slight, we just had this conversation, parasite cleanse, whatnot, but that's not typically what you're looking at. The body can kind of confuse that baby with a parasite sometimes. This is the time to build the body, to support and put good nutrition and sound nutrition in. And there's plenty of herbs that support things. I mean, we've got nettle in a lot of our stuff, and nettle is absolutely amazing for during pregnancy, and red raspberry. And like I said, Shannon and I are going to work on that. But don't be afraid of the herbs. We are not going to recommend something that's going to harm your baby. And we're not going to, remember, not everything on Google is true.
No kid. A greater statement has never been said. I mean, we have a tendency to worship Google. And it's like, excuse me, these are opinions by others, the same as books on our shelves here. They're just opinions by people that have no clue. None of these people have written any of these books heal people worth of crap. To be honest with you. That's just, they don't. But they have a little piece of the puzzle. So that's what I've done, is take a little piece here and a little piece there, because we used to play jigsaw puzzles, remember, in Indiana in the dead of winter. You're going to play so many of those with the snow. But still, that's what it is. You have to understand. But understanding the puzzle first, understanding the picture, and I've talked a lot about that, and then putting the pieces together. Not one person has it all. I've tried to pull everything together as we can, but you can see you guys are helping us to increase our awareness. We're always learning, that's for sure.
Exactly. And we love that learning.
Oh,
we love getting feedback from you guys that this did this and that did that.
Exactly.
And,
that's the excitement of the mind, is to learn and not to become narcissistic and elitist doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
what about women who already are pregnant, though? What if someone just woke up, they know they got kidney problems, they know they have problems, they're pregnant. What am I going to do? Just carry this and go on, or what am I going to do?
well, of course, I would jump to cleaning up the diet immediately.
Exactly. So what happens when you change your diet? Because you do want to change your diet, right? When you want to go as much all raw as possible. Here's the problem, going all raw. What is it?
Healing
Detox. Exactly. Just changing your diet to all raw will detoxify you. And you can't stop it. It's your body doing it. You have to trust your body, though, to be wise not to let the fetus go. If one of you are in a detox or in a raw food diet and you lose your baby, there's a reason. And you can't feel too bad about it. The same with you, because there's a reason for everything. Remember that? And sometimes those souls are not supposed to be here, but just
it's easy to know.
Easy to know.
Hard to know.
I know. Remember, we're just supplying bodies for the souls.
Yeah.
Right? The souls come out of the Godhead.
Yep.
So you have to realize that if you have a weak fetus, that baby could have had problems that would have been inhumane. Or you could have had a situation where, not knowing about the medical community and their unawareness with children, do some bad things. So there's so much, and you just can't live with that. You just have to understand that we only ride the ride. The strings are already being pulled.
And it is about letting go, especially emotions and things like that. You have to understand that all of that tie you to past and to things.
Exactly.
And you do need to learn to let things go.
Yeah,
But so
absolutely.
many people, they get in cycles. They think they've dealt with it, and then all of a sudden it comes back up again. And it's a lot like a healing crisis. You can clean a specific area and think you've dealt with it, and then you get dig, boom.
Okay.
Oh, I must have further to get rid of.
So look at this. Your physical body is your lowest chemical body that you are wearing currently. To be viewing this and understanding what we're saying, your human body is your lowest body. Your next body is your emotional body. So as you clean your physical body, you're going to be pulling that emotional component, which is hooked through your adrenal glands. Each of your endocrine glands are hooked to your finer bodies. Believe it or not, they call them chakras in India, but it doesn't matter. These are our energy centers that control a lot of things in each body. And so we just have to understand that, that the emotional component's going to come, and the mind. I mean, some out there, and I've said this a lot of times with these guys, you want to be stable because this world is going to go still a little south. A little south yet. And so you've got to hold your awareness or you're going to go cuckoo. Look what's going out there, and the people are just going cuckoo. Women are cutting babies out of other women because they don't want to go through it or couldn't conceive, so they're taking, remember that? 2 or 3 just a few years ago. Started cutting women open and grabbing their babies out of them. What's causing all of that? And so that's what man has to look at. How out of balance is the mind, the emotions, and the physical body. And of course, for most people, they can only start with the physical body. Start eating right and cleaning that up. Then it'll reach into your emotions. Then you'll have emotional detoxes, which you're going to talk about a lot in the class. And then it reaches into the thoughts and the past experiences and the past coming up to haunt you. And that you've got to clear that out too.
You got to be prepared because you're just going to continue to, whether you're detoxing physically, emotionally, or spiritually, you're just going to continue to go deeper and deeper. And that can be an exciting thing if you get to the point where you look at it as that.
I think so.
It's about perspective.
Exactly, because each level brings another level, and it's new and it's excitement and it's a feel-good thing. You're less out of pain, more flexible, more awake. There's just nothing like it, you know. And then you start having that union with all of life, and that's when you start feeling and understanding that all life is from the same source.
Yeah.
And that they're just different shapes and forms, but we're all one. So that brings the love principle and the nirvana.
So if you find that you're pregnant and you're wanting to do something about it, you know, supporting the body like we spoke about is a good thing. There is one time I would probably definitely recommend doing some detoxing, and that is if you find out that you're pregnant and have cancer, which we have definitely run into.
Yeah.
You can still run this race. You can do it gently, but you can still be doing some cleaning. You can. You either find someone that you trust that knows the art of detoxification or knows and can take you forward, and you start slowly working yourself towards that, because you're not just working yourself towards that healing, you're working your baby towards that healing. I always tell people all the time, there's only a few things that limit this process. Number 1 is time, and number 2 is attitude, belief. Don't let doubt sneak in. Doubt is acidic. Doubt is acidic. Mm-hmm. It can stop a person in its tracks. Oh, yeah. We had one client come in one time, doing amazing, feeling amazing, and he hadn't got his final report yet from his doctor. He was feeling better, more energetic, feeling stronger. His doctor come back to him, "You've got 3 weeks to live." He believed that. He believed it. From the moment he got that, his wife said she saw him just do this spiral downhill, and within 3 weeks he was gone.
It makes me sick. But that's how it happens. You accept the fact.
Yeah.
But you know, that shows a weak soul. And that soul then maybe come back. He already has the groundwork of the raw foods, so he'll come right back, get another body. That'll be more aware soul and to be stronger soul. But when you believe in that crap and you let someone dictate the time you have left on the planet, you're a weak soul.
Yeah.
And you all can't be weak in today's world, or it'll consume you. Mm-hmm. It's like it did that guy. You want to be strong. Reclaim the self. Get your joy back. Reclaim the self again, because you're in the negative times, the Kali Yuga for you Indians, and you know it. And the Kali Yuga is the ending. And biblically, we have that in the Bible. We have it in all religious writings. The movement of creation and what's coming. The Hopi elders, the Sioux elders both came out. Remember I told you that one? I have their writings, particularly the Hopis, but I like the Sioux as well, of course, and they both came out saying the same thing. We pushed it way too far. So it says you can only ride the ride now. So you just have to, get positive for yourself, get your worlds in order, and just let whatever happens, happens.
And I don't care how long you're in school, no degree, no certification, no training, anything has ever given any man the right to say you only have so long to live. No, I don't care what doctor you are. I don't care if you're a specialist on top of a specialist on top of a specialist. You have no right to do that.
Right.
You have no right. I had one gentleman called me, told me about a friend of his had a 7-year-old boy that was dying. And I said, have him do this, 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 and this. And he goes, no, the doctors told him within the week he'll be gone. And I said, they settled for that? They settled for that?
Yeah.
No doctor would ever tell me anything that would make me sit down and give up before that child is taking his last breath.
Absolutely. And that's what gets me. And some people are so compliant, but they're not highly evolved humans. They're kind of part of the pack. And they accept what they're told and everything else. Don't be a follower. Mm-hmm. Remember the follower, the view's always the same? If you're not lead dog, the view's always the same. And that's just the problem. You don't have to be aggressive,
right?
But you want to claim your rights and your awareness and your world. And you don't let anybody tell you anything you don't want in there. Mm-hmm. But also don't rule out the good stuff.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yep. Surround yourself with positive people. People that believe in this journey. Not that that's to say you get rid of everyone around you that's negative, but you may limit your time with them for a little while. You may get together with them once a week instead of every night. You may say, you know what, if you're going to be around me right now, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
You just have to.
Don't get upset if your friends change too. Sometimes friends need to change. You're walking with the wrong friends. And if you have friends that enable you, or take away your energy, dump them. Start getting some new friends that feed you, that help you, that put their arms around you, that feed your journey and give you some substance in your world.
So the whole thing with during pregnancy is there's answers out there, there's support out there. Don't believe everything you heard. Herbs are not here to hurt us. Herbs are not here to kill us. Herbs are not here to get rid of our babies.
Vegetables. Thank you. They're just vegetables with a twist. They're vegetables with an attitude. And that attitude came from God.
Yep.
You know, I'm here to fix your kidneys. Move over, let me do my job. You know, I love plants.
Yep.
And that's what they're here for. And when you embrace them, they embrace you even more. It's cool stuff.
And people are, I'm amazed at this. I love this. People are always saying, well, what about this vitamin? What about that vitamin stuff? Your herbs are loaded. They are absolutely loaded with vitamins and minerals. And it's like the nettle. Stinging nettle, that's like a multivitamin right from nature. You know, we always talk about the little chewables at Walmart.
Oh, yeah.
You know, go out and feed your kids nettle. It's one of the best things you could do.
Now, with that in mind, what are the 4 processes that is essential when we talk about nutrition? And there's one thing you and I see constantly, and it's called malabsorption. So you have to go back to the 4 basic principles of wellness. First, you must digest your foods properly. Second, you must absorb those foods through your intestinal wall, either into the lymph system or the blood capillaries. Thirdly, you must utilize to metabolize. This is hormones, steroids, neurotransmitters, and the like, and enzymes. And then fourth, and finally, you must have to eliminate the byproducts from all these processes. Well, that's the final stage, but that's our first stage that we have to work on because that's what we've lost. Now, in losing the last stage of elimination, we've lost all the other stages. We don't absorb. Most people are malabsorbed to some extent.
Oh, yeah.
So when you say, I'm just going to take vitamins and minerals because I need them, wrong thinking. I want to get my body to where I utilize the chemistry that I'm eating. And when you do, you'll be surprised how little you need to eat for how much power and energy you will have. It's amazing. We don't need to eat the kind of food that our processors have been putting through. All the meats and the potatoes and the grains and all the big meals that people eat are just like staggering to me.
Yeah.
My meals are small and little. I don't get the amount of food people put down. I'm just like, oh, wow.
I know that has completely changed for my husband and I. I mean, we used to be huge as far as getting together with family and just everybody bring a dish.
Baby.
Oh my goodness. The last time we were up there, I literally took 3 bites of, I forget what I was eating, and I was like, I could be done if I needed to be.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh,
so, I mean, you don't need near what you have. My husband, he still does do meat sometimes, but he's went from consuming a huge steak to literally about 3 bites in.
That's
He's
pretty
done.
good. I mean,
There's people that would still judge him on the fact that he's still eating the meat,
you know
but
what, though?
one
And
step
that's
at a
the
time.
problem. That's what I want to weed out of us
One
is
step
that
at a
judgment
time.
call because it's one step at a time. Some souls can only take one step at a time. Others can jump full bore. Who cares?
Yep.
We're all part of the one. We're here just to love each other no matter what level we're working.
Yeah.
Because
you know,
go
if
ahead.
somebody come to me and they said, you know, my diet's awful and stuff, but, you know, I gave up Twinkies this week. Yes. Keep going. Keep going.
No,
Don't judge them for the fact that they still had that chocolate milk at bedtime and what like that. Some people, it's got to be baby steps. Some people are so emotionally tied. Everybody can be addicted to something, regardless of whether that is drugs, alcohol, food, sex, books. It doesn't... romance books. You know, it doesn't matter what the addiction is. You don't understand the walk that somebody else is walking because you've not been in their shoes.
Yeah, you know, you will notice that some of you that have your own businesses and stuff understand the stressors and the level of stress that it brings and some of the expenses and things that others have no clue about. So, you know, when you're in business for yourself, that's another level of thinking.
Yeah.
You know, and especially when you have a bunch of employees and you're responsible for their lives and they have kids, you know, so it exponentially kind of grows out a little bit in your stress levels. Well, that's responsibility. You're taking on more responsibility, and the more responsibility I notice people take on, the bigger they get sometimes. And I'm trying to do that, to where that's not a factor. But I've been watching people in business, and sometimes men that have, or old ladies that have a heavy load, they get big. Just from all that load, they stress out by eating and relationships.
Well, what does stress do? The number one thing stress does is takes the adrenals down.
There you go.
Creates acidosis in the body.
There you go. Right there.
So, moving on just a little bit, I got a couple clients this afternoon, so we'll try and get through this last one, and that's
you better. It's 10
post.
after 3.
That's post-pregnancy, after delivery. Well, first of all, before the delivery, one thing I really like to recommend is nettles and raspberry, because they are excellent at toning the uterus and preparing you for delivery of that child. So those are two that are excellent. But post, let's talk about, what do you think about detoxing during nursing, Robert?
Well, interesting. I think I told them once that we had a couple that had just given birth, and the lady had cancer, so I went right after her. But she was breastfeeding, and the baby shed his skin. Totally, his whole skin came off of him. And luckily they didn't freak. And later we realized it was because he had a weak skin.
Yeah.
And that his new, healthy, happy skin. It's just to a medical doctor it'd have freaked right out. But to us, we knew that the body gets rid of that which is weak and replaces it stronger. If the substances are coming in to do that. And that's just what happened, But that's part of the issue. You're going to detoxify your baby. I want to bring up this, and I've already discussed it with them once, but I think it's important with breastfeeding and stuff, post. And a great example was my granddaughter. She had just delivered, she was detoxing during her pregnancy. She might have did lymphatic 1. I couldn't keep her from it, I think. But she did detox, and she pumped the superfood blend. So this baby came out 10 pounds, 22 inches. They're going, what? He's already crawling, and he just got out. It was just amazing how big this kid is now, and he's only a few months old, But they called and said he had a real bad ear infection. So what was my next comment?
Take
him off the milk. Take him off the breast. He can't have any more breast milk. When you see your baby's getting colicky or mucousy, that's it. You're done, because if you push that, you will fill your baby full of mucus and tumors and all this kind of stuff.
Same with thrush.
Thrush, all of that. No, when you start to see all that, back away, get them right on the fruits and the berries and the melons and the coconut milks and waters.
I had my oldest was on fruits by the time he was 2 months old, I think.
Yeah. And this baby's only 4 or 6 months old, and we had to pull him off the milk because he couldn't take it no more. And he just sucked down the fruit. He's going, and now that kid is like even growing faster, and the pediatrician's going, what the hell are you giving him? So it was just amazing.
I have a client that her baby, 6 weeks old, I think, is when we talked, and he was projectile vomiting, and she had him. I don't remember if she couldn't nurse or it was just their culture that she didn't nurse. I don't remember which one, but she was not nursing. She had the baby on a organic formula type thing. First child did amazing on it. Second child, projectile vomiting. I recommended coconut. Coconut milk. So she feeds him 5 bottles a day. She replaced just one of those bottles with her own coconut milk that she makes. And then she cut that with a little bit of water. She said that when she gives him that bottle, she cannot believe how calm and peaceful and chilled he is. She's moving him up to 2 bottles to see. She's like playing this game. And so I'm encouraging her. Great. The more you can get that switch, the better. She's, I'm not sure where they are as far as going all the way, but you should never be afraid of natural over synthetic, ever.
Ever. And raw. Why would you fear the way nature makes something, and any thought of us processing or cooking it would make it better is probably one of the greatest fallacies ever perpetrated by whoever perpetrated it. How could you ever, even in macrobiotics, they feel that you must steam your vegetables. Well, you know why? Because we can't break down vegetables well. So but we can't break them down, but still, steaming is worse than raw. You total bore raw, and if your body can't handle it, it's not meant for you. If you have a hard time with greens, we don't have the processors. We're not a green processing We have to actually make one, buy one, and process our greens
Well,
that
there's
way.
a reason why we recommend steamed vegetables and things raw to pull you out of a healing crisis. Not raw, but the steamed and things like that. The vegetables even to pull you out of a healing crisis. It slows down the cleaning process. That's opposite of what we're wanting to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, increasing milk. I know I'll be there in 5 minutes. Increasing milk, breast milk. There's different herbs for that. You can, like I said, Shannon and I are working on coming up with that. Fenugreek would be one of them. That's
fenugreek
very
is always
good.
the one
Yep.
for better milk production.
If you're having problems with your milk
know.
letting down, hops is actually a good, but you got to be careful because it's a little bit of a sedative. You might want to do that at night, not during the day. The baby's running everywhere and mom's over there sleeping. So, to dry up milk, sage,
Yeah, there you
sage
go.
and black walnut.
So you have here gas and bloating. You know, when you see that, there's improper digestion. So again, if it's the milk, get rid of it. Whatever it is, get rid of it, because those are your warning signs. And if you try to push through that, you could do the knitting procedure. You could tie the baby's stomach around its esophagus so it can't throw up anymore, and then give Botox treatments in the hiney. I mean, you can do things like that medically. That's real smart.
Well, there again is where's the logic in that?
Oh my God! I mean, So when you see these warning signs, know that the food that's being processed is wrong, and therefore you're getting a fermentation, and if it's a protein, putrefaction, and those are the things you don't want to build up in the body, because fermentation is a fungal experience and putrefaction is a bacterial experience.
Yeah.
And you'll pull them in to handle that situation for you, and you can't do a thing about it because you created the situation.
And if you've got a child that's you've been nursing for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and you start seeing things like the thrush and other things like that, understand if your diet is not good, the baby's diet is not good. And you may be thinking, I gotta keep going on the mother's milk. I gotta keep going on the breast milk because of
Fallacy.
what would be better, putting foods that are going to bring that child and heal that child and support that child and good building materials, or continuing to have them attached to you, who you are continuing to give all kinds of issues to.
You know, you should, like
Or
you
pass
said,
them along.
yeah, you should never fear giving your babies fruits, berries, melons, especially your infants. You should never fear that, especially after about 3-4 months. You should never fear that. If you look in nature, mamas get rid of babies as soon as they can. As soon as they can. So you have to think of the same way. You don't have to carry them around for a lifetime that way.
Yep.
And getting them on the raw is energizing them and turning them on and repairing their genetics. When you do that to your babies, they can rebuild their genetic weaknesses so much quicker. So by the time they're in high school, you've got a super person.
You can still bond with that child outside of a food connection. There's plenty of ways.
exactly.
Find different ways to bond with that child.
Exactly.
And we've got a great nursing tea that I'll post, that we don't actually have the tea, but I got a recipe for it that I'll post. A lot of amazing herbs in there that can help with getting the milk to come in.
Excellent stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just remember what you're doing. You're raising a physical body. That's what the body is all about. The soul is the consciousness, all of that. You're responsible for creating and maintaining the human form for that soul to occupy. And if a soul can't occupy it well, it's going to leave it. And you can't judge that. You can't judge anything in the worlds of God. You can only ride the ride because it isn't your world.
Yeah.
It's all being created. We're just moving through it and developing, or however you look at that spiritually.
Well, are we gonna close this out real quick? Or were you gonna continue?
No, because
Okay.
we want to get this up for them. And
Okay.
if I do, then they'll have to timestamp it, and then that'll be a week.
Well, this may not have answered every single one of your questions, but I hope it covered the fact that herbs are not dangerous to you. You've got to be careful. You got to know what you're doing. Obviously, with anything that you're doing, but
all our herbs in our formulas are grass, generally regarded as safe. And like I said, the strongest ones are the poke, the blood roots. And as one of you found out about poke root, you don't do too much of it. You almost ended up in the ER. You don't mess around with these kind of herbs. Remember, blood root is what pulls a tumor right out of your body. So you're talking about a very strong, powerful herb. I'll say this, don't think herbs are candy either.
Yeah.
Because they're far from it. They come with all the power you need to be well. And you know
it's
what?
about logic. It's about using logic.
Exactly. We love you guys.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And any questions you might have on this, send them in. I'll give them to Marcie, and we'll talk about it again.
All right, guys.
Love you.
Blessed. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I'll give this to
How do you think
processors in the back.
It went? How do you think it went?
Yeah,
Good?
good.
All right.
I think it was good. Did you guys?
We're gonna see after it's posted.